Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Smite Draft League. Awesome to be here once again. I'm going to be joined on this cast today by the one and only DivineApe. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to watch the Kingslayers.
Yeah, I am too. Kingslayer's been pretty solid team so far, up against Flourish. Talk to me. How are the standings looking for this game so far?
So Kingslayers haven't dropped not just a single set. They haven't dropped a single game all season so far. So they're obviously they're undisputed at the top, and Flourish have the pleasure of trying to sort of topple them this week. So that's going to be exciting to see what they sort of bring to the table. Hopefully try to bring something new and really try to topple the Kingslayers, but no one's been able to do it.
Looking to make some new growth in this revolutionary world where the Kingslayers have come for the crown. Looks like we got a lot of work cut out for us, so I think we are off to a really exciting start already. Flourish going to kick off the bans, getting rid of the Thor. Kingslayers respond with a Freya. You think these are pretty normal bans right now?
Yeah, pretty normal bans. We saw like some magical ADCs sort of like come back into sort of like meta towards the end of last patch. New patch, I think people should be trying new things, but I think a lot of what was good before will still be good. So we see Thor, Raven, Freya, like those gods should be taken off the table.
I also see a tier ban being thrown out here. Do you think that's more of a generic tier is very solid god right now and they don't want to deal with it? Or is that more of a target ban for the Kingslayers?
I think it's a Target ban. I think Nico Drin actually plays the Thor quite a bit, and maybe Terminator someone who there's certain gods that do really poorly in the tiers. I think Cucullin sort of comes to mind, which is a god Terminator tends to go to. So maybe just getting rid of counter matchups and killing two birds with one stone with getting rid of a pick for Nicodrin.
That's also very, very true. Another ban we
Mhm.
see coming out is Ganesh. I've been seeing Ganesh bans in the top three a lot more often lately. Talk to me here. Explain this one. Is that something that's really that impactful, or is it a target ban?
The I used to say like answer that question with yeah, I think it's a target ban because this person really likes Ganesh, but I feel like all supports university like Ganesh right now. I think he's just in a really good spot, and I think the silence is just something that's so tough to deal with for the gods in the meta. A lot of the gods want to jump in and just sort of like cast all their abilities and auto attacks, and Ganesh can really shut that down quickly.
That is true. If I
Mm.
kept getting silenced when I'm trying to cast abilities, that would probably slow my roll a little bit too.
That guy would be gone every game.
Kingslayer is opting to pick up the Kuzenbo, very powerful support we see, especially of late. The King of the Kappas making some pretty big waves. Will it be enough to
Look
take down the
into
Sun
my
Wukong, do you think?
eyes.
Yeah, I wonder if this is Kuzenbo solo or support. I would guess solo. It makes a lot of sense into Wukong because he has safe clear similar to Wukong. And neither will really have kill pressure on each other. I don't think we'll see anyone go down without a jungler getting involved. So safe pick brings a lot of disruption in the late game of the fights, which is it's going to be really good for gods with big AOE, sort of like Medusa, which you see is a pick that Ragemore really loves going to. I think he's played it every week at this point. So yeah, I think Kuzumo brings a lot to what the Kingslayers want to do, and it's just a safe pick in Wukong.
So you're expecting to see it over in the solo lane rather than
I
support.
I am, yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes support either. But I'd expect to see it solo.
If that's the case, then do you think Kingstars are looking for a specific support, or are they just gonna go ahead and leave the flex open, wait for Flourish to try and ban some things out?
Yeah, it'd be smart for Kingslayers
You are not
to
yet
sort of leave
ready
the flex
to become
open,
the Jade
especially because
Emperor.
Flourish banned Ganesh. So you can tell they already want the like supports off the table. So I wouldn't pick a tank here at all and just have Flourish ban out maybe more supports or more solo laners because it looks like that's already what they want to be banning out.
That sounds pretty fair enough. They're gonna be facing a little bit of trouble though, as we see Flourish picking up
Mm.
Ratatoskr and Yu Huang. Pretty good lockdown, a lot of damage. What do you think the comp is starting to build there from Flourish?
It looks like Flourish want to play for like their mid game
Time
power
to
spike. That's sort of Rat's pretty
burn.
early game, and then as soon as he gets that acorn and like his first couple items online, he can just be anywhere on the map and put out so much damage. And Yu Huang actually got a buff this patch, so I don't know how exactly how strong he is, but I think even like a little bit of love could be enough to sort of change like his presence in the mid lane. So I'm excited to see what he can bring into an Agni, a god who's already kind of like established is really good from last patch.
So we're seeing a very solid mid laner going into a recently buffed mid laner.
Yeah.
Sounds like we may see a little bit of action going on in the mid lane, especially with that mobility on the jungle for Flourish, like you said. But we still only see one ADC on the board. Kingslayers banning out the X Ball. Are there any other ADCs that you think Flourish would be looking at right now?
Yeah, it's tough. We really don't see Medusa outside of Rage more picking it. So I really don't know who Medusa struggles with. I think gods with like good, safe, clear are sort of hard for Medusa to bully out. So Rama makes the most sense, as well as the X Ball. So it's smart that that's what the Kingslayers go towards, in their bans. Flourish, it looks like they're banning out junglers. They're worried about dodgy Hunbats, which makes sense. Yu Huang, Rat, gonna be gods that are gonna struggle if they, get CC'd early.
That is true. If you shut them down
Mhm,
pretty early, it can make it a lot harder to try and make things happen. And
mhm.
Kingslayers seem to be pretty well known for being able to get those advantages, not having dropped a single game. Like you said,
Not one.
that is very tough to do. And Kingslayers really have just set the precedent for what makes a great team. So, like you said, Flourish really got a lot of work to do so far this game. But Kingslayers, ball is in their court now for the next pick. Do you think there's anything that they're looking at?
I'm interested too. I don't know if obviously I think the Kuzma is gonna be going solo. So if I'm Kingslayers, I'm picking up my support here and then sort of counter picking
Wisdom
like with
shall
their
be my
jungler
shield.
last. And that's exactly what they'll do. They'll pick the Athena. And I'm sure that's going to JPhobics and Nikrugen's gonna be taking the Kuzumbo. So that makes a lot of sense. And now Kingslayers sort of get to see the entire draft of Flourish before they pick their jungler, which is going to be really impressive. And it sort of puts the ball in Wyvern's court, to sort of like pick the best jungler to them and sort of do exactly what they've been doing, which is just dominating the league.
Really gives him plenty of room to spread his wings, as it
Yeah.
were. So, with the bottom two picks for Flourish coming out, first one going to be Bastet, as we see another pick. So, we might see a little bit of a switch up with the Ratatoskr and Sun Wukong. Somebody's going to be going somewhere a little bit different this time. Do you think that we're going to see anything too crazy?
I've seen this before. I've seen I don't recall if it was
The light
Flourish,
is
but
all around you.
I have seen Rat support. I think it was Wav. I think it was Wav playing Rat support in a Flourish set earlier in the season, and it sort of struggled, in the early stages of the game, but yeah, I think Royalty was on Freya jungle as well. I'm recalling the game in my head as we talk about it, and they tried this before. It didn't go well for them, but they ended up winning the game. So maybe my analysis isn't too good a situation, but maybe Wav's tried it a bunch more. I think you do what Rat does bring is like obviously a stun, mobility, big AOE knockup, which can just be largely disruptive, especially when paired with Hugh Huang ult and Sanctified Fields coming out of the Olorun, which they took last. So I think it can
Death
bring a lot to a fight, but it is tough to
awaits.
pull off.
It'll definitely be even harder to pull off when you're considering it goes into Medusa and Athena.
Hmm.
That's going to be very high damage output dual lane, very high on the pressure, but will the wave clear be enough? They do have Olorun. If he does get himself in a good situation, that can be a very scary pick, but with a Thanatos from Kingslayers, I think that's going to be pretty rough for an early game on Flourish. What do you think?
Yeah, it can be real rough. Thanatos just brings so much early damage to the table, and especially with that execute, a lot of people think Thanatos is a just an early game god. The execute goes up to somewhere between 35 and 40% in the later stages of the game. So you're really taking people out in the late game as well. If they get Athena taunted into 60% of their HP, now they're in execute threshold, and it sort of just lets you sort of like snowball the game even more as you go. So Thanatos is such a scary guy to be against, but high execution as well. and there's a lot of pressure on Kingslayers to perform because they haven't lost a single set. So I'm expecting Wyvern to perform, but there is a lot of pressure on all of Kingslayers. Just having won every game so far. But I'm excited to see them do it.
They've definitely got a lot to live up for. Like you said, being an undefeated team in
Yeah.
this Smite Draft League, that is no small thing to accomplish. So there's definitely going to be a lot to work up to. But they do certainly still have the stat line to back it up. So maybe seeing quite a few questions being asked. We'll have to see, will Flourish have any answers for them as we go into game number 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to game number 1. We've got Divine Division Flourish taking on the undefeated Kingslayers. Welcome back to the Smite Draft League. I'm going to be your host, Jeeringlamb. Once again, I'm joined by the wonderful DivineApe. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm skeptical of this rat support. I think that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. We did see Waaav on it earlier in the season, and it didn't perform too well. And especially into something like Athena and Medusa, which is going to be like a really heavy CC chain to deal with. I really don't know. Waav's going to have to play so well for this to go over for Flourish.
So you're saying they're pretty nuts for trying it so early in the set, but when you're playing into an undefeated team, I guess they're going big or they're going home. And gotta say, I do respect the energy from Flourish, but where do you think they're going to have to focus with that Bastet in the jungle to really make this come together?
I think you want to focus DragonLordCat on this Agni. Bastet does such a good job of sort of pulling a character out of position with that ultimate of hers. And Agni, I got it, doesn't have CC immunity in kit. So you pull him in, he's crippled, you deal all your damage, and then Agni sort of got nowhere to go. So that's where I'd like to see the pressure on from Royalty. And he's someone who's actually really done a really good job of camping like a specific laner. So that's what I'm expecting to see as well.
He's already getting very active, taking a lot of damage for Cosmic Warrior. Royal also falling under quarter HP. Mid lane from the Kingslayers getting very active and very aggressive. High damage output coming out already. They're not able to secure a kill just yet, but the dual lane also getting pretty high on the pressure, just like we were expecting. Already pushed back under tower. Flourish not having the greatest start to their early game so far.
Yeah, no one's died yet, which is good. Bastet did have to use that beads. I think they beads it to the sand so silent so they can jump back and live there with those being down. As soon as Agni hits that level 5, he's going to be raining fire all over Bastet, and she's not going to have much she's able to do about it. But looking for a cheeky invade here on the shield buff.
Real does manage to tip away that he's there, but they do get enough pressure to force Medusa to try and back up. Getting a decent amount of damage onto Rage. We're already falling down to about half HP, but here comes Wyvern to make a return gank. We see the taunt good, Scythe is also good, and the silence will put him to sleep. Taking a little catnap will be Royal for the first blood 2 minutes into this game number 1.
Yeah, and you see just a small amount of miscommunication from Flourish. You saw Royalty sort of go on, to the Medusa, but then you see Rat immediately dash away. And that little bit of miscommunication gives a first blood, and Kingslayers is a team that's just going to run away with even like a small lead for them. So definitely not a good look for Flourish. They're going to have to clean up their play together if they're going to want to win.
Yeah, playing into the Kingslayers, you can't be making big mistakes, especially not early on. They're very good at capitalizing. Nice double taunt coming out from the support, getting a little bit of damage, but right now, Medusa only able to take Shrimp down to about half HP. You know, DragonLordCat taking a lot of damage from the Bastet. Cosmic Warrior trying to make something happen, but long damage not going to be good enough. Thanatos coming in. Wyvern flapping his wings, blinks in. Scythe is good, and the silence will be a second kill. That'll be 2-0 for Wyvern, already off to a great start.
And you see Cosmic, he heard Thanatos behind him and immediately hit that 3 to get it in the air. He sort of like jumped the gun on that one. The Thanatos didn't even have to press a button. It sort of just scared him in the air. And then as soon as he comes down, he's a sitting duck. You just blink, Scythe, and that's an easy kill for Wyvern to pick up. For second kill of the game, Kingslayers have about a 700 gold lead. And Flourish again, they just have to sort of calm down, play their game. I think what Flourish does well is play as a team. Usually off the back of Royalty and Terminator diving together. But they can't let themselves get too far behind from Kingslayers because they're just gonna run away with the game.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to be playing very clean here, especially since it's now 2-0 on the Thanatos jungle. Already ticked over to level 5. Hovering Death is available, so anybody is at risk of getting dived very quickly. Even Sun Wukong could take a lot of damage very quickly from that, but Sun Wukong is pretty safe, so I don't expect to see any action there, at least not yet. On the other hand, though, in mid lane, once again, we see that aggression coming out. Royal already have HP, looking to try and steal away these mid harpies, but not really able to get too close. Kingslayers do have the Athena here as well. Silence is going to be good. Safe off the mark. Hovering Death popped. Beats already coming out from Royal. Dueling Dragon's not good enough. The stun is good under Royal, doing a lot more damage, and one more bomb from Dragon will be enough to secure the kill. Royal goes down once more. And that's now a 3-0 start for the Kingslayers, off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, fantastic is right. I mean, 2-0-1 on Wyvern, almost giving everyone an assist outside of Nicodrin on Kingslayers. They're just working so well together, and that cohesion is really what's missing from Flourish. Because as again, you see Royalty sort of come for a wraparound onto like the steal on the mid harpies there, but Cosmic Warrior his full kit was down. He was already walking away, so sort of left Royalty out there to dry, and dry he did. Is Wyvern and DragonLordCat get that kill.
Luckily, Royalty does still have some opportunities to get back into the game. Playing Bastet does have those 9 lives, but unfortunately, 2 of them already gone.
Yeah.
Already in this early game. Nicodrin wanting to secure this blue buff, but Waaav and Royal here to make something happen. Terminator isn't quite here, but Wyvern is showing face to make sure there is no funny business. Hunter's Best not going to be quite on the mark. Cat won't be enough to secure the blue buff, and with it already under tower, Nicodrin will manage to keep his blue buff this time. Cosmic Warrior looking to get some damage onto DLC, but with a good dash, looks like they're going to be able to escape from Flourish. And meanwhile, Wyvern getting very active on Royalty, already going down. Hovering Death just off the mark. Stunned barely a moment too late. On the other side, though, Kingslayers is getting active on the purple buff. And despite not losing any kills, that will be Hovering Death down, but we might see the blink coming in. The scythe is good. And Wyvern will take down Royalty for the 3rd time. Killing spree now. That is a fantastic start.
Oh man, a double stun and raining fire from DragonLordCat right there. And the Thanatos is off to such a large start that he could just walk at this red buff by himself, and Waaav and Cosmic Warrior, they have to kind of back off here. Athena might be coming in. There might be something in action going on here.
Defender of Olympus coming in. Royalty trying to get in the back line, doing a lot of damage. Is Thanatos, but taking even more. Wyvern getting extremely low, and Waaav will get an auto to secure the kill. Shut down onto the Thanatos. It'll be a nice boost, but here it comes through the trees. Trying to wrap around to the Agni. Dash is going to be good, but a nice stun from Waaav will get a lot of damage. Trying to drop the bombs. Dueling Dragon not going to be enough to kill. Barely surviving, getting the kill under the other mid laner, but Shrimp will end up securing the kill. That'll be a mid laner trade, but they do have to expend a couple ultimates to get it.
Yeah, I do think spending the ultimates is worth it there. If you're Flourish, you're already a little far behind, especially in the kill department, and just getting those return kills is going to bring you back up. As you can see, the gold is evened up for Flourish and Kingslayers. I think Kingslayers have less than 100 gold lead at this point. Really good return kills from Flourish, sort of bringing them back into this game, and looks like Ragemore's going for more on this 1v1 in the duo lane, but they'll both walk away, go back to their wave, and Oleron's going to get that shield buff.
Ragemore trying to instill the fear into FullOfShrimp, but he will not be petrified this time. He will stand his ground very bravely, I might add, taking a lot of damage for it, though. Kingslayers trying to get active in the jungle, invade what they can, take whatever else is available, but solo lane, Nicodrin, not too much mana to his name, but with the help of Wyvern, might be able to do a little bit of damage. iTerminatorr recognizes what's going on. Silence will be good. Looking for the scythe. Here comes the Somersault Cloud already, but with quarter HP, Terminator is going to be able to heal up. Sun Wukong going to be back up to half HP already. And now Flourish looking for the gank over to the duo side, trying to shut down the Kingslayers ADC. Not willing to jump under tower just yet, but you go ahead and invade some buffs. Here comes Hovering Death. Going to go ahead and use it defensively to try and secure more farm. Wyvern will end up stealing away the blue buff. And Kingslayers may have to expend that very valuable ultimate, but they do manage to secure some farm for their troubles. Continuing the fight, though, trying to get more aggressive is Terminator going in on Wyvern, but with 2 over in the duo lane, Royalty will end up securing a kill. Ragemore will fall without being able to secure the kill onto FullOfShrimp. Barely alive with no mana. Very, very close.
Yeah, and if you pay attention to the FullOfShrimp's sort of like character portrait, it actually went gray, which means he was less than 10 HP. So yeah, actually just getting up at the very skin of his teeth. FullOfShrimp living there, which is gonna be big for Flourish because they have actually secured a lead now. Off the back of these return kills and on the back of them just getting their farm, and just with the way Kingslayers have been playing has been very good with invading the blue buff, on the right side of the map, but on this left side you really see Flourish, for lack of a better word, flourish. Oleron's allowed to do whatever he wants. He's not going to pressure it a lot. They've gotten a couple of those shield buffs. They've tried to invade, and it looks like they're looking for more on the Wyvern here.
Wyvern's already baited out Dueling Dragons and Huntress of Bast. Waaav trying to get in. A nice bomb and a good stun onto Waaav will secure a little bit of safety for Wyvern. Convinces him to back off just in time. Kingslayers won't lose anybody, but FullOfShrimp does manage to secure another shield buff over in the dual lane. Be sitting nice, but DLC getting very low. Quarter HP. Here comes Royalty looking to make something happen, but won't be able to secure the kill just this time, as Bastion does body block on that cat. So no scratches for you, but a red buff and a back for your troubles.
Yeah, you hate to see that. It's why you pre-fire that ability, then as you're walking forward, and then the Bastion sort of gets in the way. You really do hate to see it. But definitely a good try. Just keeping DragonLordCat sort of keeping him honest, making sure he can't sort of walk up to that wave and, sort of greed with it, how little HP he does have.
Just a threat, as it were.
Yeah, just a threat. Just let him know if he does walk out, he is getting smoked by the best end. And even though Royalty is 2 levels down on the Thanatos, which will be a problem if the level lead persists, still has enough damage output. Stacking that Transcendence going to get the Solider on to be able to deal enough damage.
Petrify will get a slow on the FullOfShrimp. Ragemore trying to get a little bit more damage. Wyvern hovering around the corner, but Shrimp already under tower. Will have some extra safety with Bestet coming around the corner. Royalty will spot out Wyvern, and the fight will begin with Ragemore already have HP. Sanctified Fields are going to be good, doing a lot of damage. Up is Wyvern with Rat coming in. Royalty will end up securing the kill onto Ragemore. Hovering Death will be used defensively to try and get away back to the safety of Agni as the mid laner shared a lot of damage, but it will be Cosmic who takes too much. Burned out of the skies will fall to DLC. Level 12 Agni already, as the beacon is just about to spawn, and Waaav trying to catch DLC out of position, but able to sneak around the corner, keep a little bit of safety as Kingslayers go ahead and pick up Oracles and do manage to trade out.
Yeah, and DLC just 3-1-1, similar to the Thanatos, but level 12 got his first Karen coin stack. Like, Agni is a guy that gets better sort of as the game goes on, just because more damage and his ultimate is almost always up. Yeah, so I mean, you see Flourish not even want to walk up to this Stygian Beacon just because of like the pressure he brings to like these big AoE clumps. It's gonna be tough. I think Flourish now's about the time where they can start looking to sort of kill DragonLordCat. We've seen a little bit of pressure from Royalty, but I'd like to see them sort of pressure this Agni out a little more before he extends his lead even further than he has.
We did see Cosmic try and get some damage, but in that 1v1 took a little bit too much damage, and DLC ended up winning that 1v1. So we'll have to wait for Waaav to actually come back to try and make something happen, because we saw earlier, while this pause is going on, we'll have time to mention it. We did see Waaav just keeping DLC under tower pretty low HP, so it did give the team a lot more space to work with. So Flourish does have opportunities to make things happen. They just got to be able to capitalize them on them in time, But where do you think they need to be applying that pressure first?
I would say the mid lane. I know they just gave up the beacon to the Kingslayers. So beacon actually just got to change this patch. It's actually now down to 5 minutes before it spawns. So I'd like to see, in the next 5 minutes, them sort of establish a little bit of pressure, with Waaav, even with that Rat ultimate, with Bastet, sort of mobility, and using just like their team composition in general to apply a little more pressure and get ready for the next beacon or even the Gold Fury if that's what they want to look at. But that's why I just want to see the pressure on Kingslayers. It feels like Flourish have been on the back foot for a little bit, especially with the start the Kingslayers had. But at this point in the game, they're sort of back in it, and Rage Force is really low.
Hunter Sebast will be good to secure Ragemore in place. Defender of Olympus trying to provide some extra mitigations, but won't be quite enough. Flourish now managing to get a kill onto the ADC. 4 members strong. Going to go ahead and start the Gold Fury. Already dropped down to half HP. Waaav and DLC coming in on the back. Here comes Dueling Dragons trying to make something happen. DLC gets a kill onto Royalty. Execute from Wyvern. Good onto Shrimp. Taking a lot of damages. Cosmic Warrior Scythe doing way too much. DLC secures a double kill. Waaav trying to escape. Barely manages to get up into the sky and will survive for just a moment longer. But Wyvern is on the hunt. Coming in at about Mach 3. Looking for the blink. Scythe won't be good, because he didn't get the blink off in time. So that would be Rat able to return home to the safety of Fountain. Kingslayers, actually Gold Fury did end up getting dropped.
Gold Fury did end up getting dropped, and it looks like it went down to Flourish, so that they do actually get, to secure the Gold Fury there, but at the cost of everyone who's there. Kingslayers are going to dominate them, and it looks like the gold lead sort of slipped right back to them, and they're looking for the blue.
Terminator already half HP, does have full mana, and with Waaav on the way, Royalty just a little bit behind. Already getting, jungle support, or JunglePhobic. I cannot talk today to save my life, but it looks like Terminator is not willing to save anybody's life. Nikojin already falling under quarter HP. Here comes DLC for some nice bombs, hitting 3 at the same time. Nikojin wound up falling to Waaav. JunglePhobic managing to escape as I finally say the name right for once. Beats from DLC will survive the Huntress of Vast, but here comes Hovering Death. Looking for the execute. All 3 are in Threshold, looking for 1. Wyvern finds iTerminatorr. Royalty just barely alive on a tower. Blink will be good. Scythe is going to be good. Silence looking for the 3rd triple kill for Wyvern. Meanwhile, Cosmic Warrior does manage to pick up 1 kill for his name, taking out DLC as the opposing mid laner, and Kingslayers will walk away 2 for 3.
Man, what a fight. That could have went so bad in both directions. I mean, you see, obviously, Wyvern pick up the triple kill, but before that, you saw JunglePhobic get super low. You saw Nikojin go down as well. So about an even trade on both ends, sort of almost a 3 for 3. It is going to come up at Kingslayers with the beautiful triple kill from Wyvern there. But you saw a little what Kingslayers are going to bring sort of in the later stages of the game. You saw a triple taunt into that triple rain of fire from Agni, and it was just a little, and maybe a couple more items. That's going to be 3 wiped from Kingslayers. So Flourish really have to be careful about how they position, as a group, and to just not get grouped up in one big Athena taunt, because a couple of minutes from now, that's going to be, 3 kills for Kingslayers and, potentially an objective their way too.
I mean, already with just a couple items, those bombs from Agni are already doing so much damage, and the more this game goes on, that's only going to hurt more and more, especially with Staff of Mirrodin now complete. DLC is getting the download complete on them. Royalty catching a little bit of aggression from the Athena, but with 3 other members of Flourish here to help secure those oracles, looks like they'll be able to survive for now. Stygian Beacon opening momentarily. Kingslayers already here, ready for it. Flourish trying to secure a little bit of farm in the meantime. Wyvern menacingly threatening them with just the presence alone, keeping them at bay. That nope, this is my beacon, not yours. Flourish trying to find some way to get around the corner, looking for some way to try and contest. But Kingslayers very solid as we see Wyvern wrapping around the back, looking for a gank. Waaav going up into the trees already, looking to try and get the initiation as Wyvern finds its way into the backline. FullOfShrimp looking to be first. Cosmic Roar taking a lot of damage, does a lot in return. Mary Poppins into the sky. Royalty will end up falling to Ragemore first as Wyvern secures a nice execute onto Cosmic. Here comes Defender of Olympus to help save as we see Fields come out from FullOfShrimp as he falls to Ragemore for a double kill. Wyvern find just a little bit for Somersault Claw, not quite enough to secure the kill, and a little bit of healing from the Scythe will be good. Nikojin ends up taking out Waaav as iTerminatorr is now caught between 4. The bomb's doing a lot of damage, but the Oxform gets a quadra knockup as Wyvern secures the kill for a deicide. Kingslayers don't get the beacon, but they got all 5 and Primal Fury, and they're feeling quite good about that.
And that is not what you want to see if you're Flourish. They were sort of even in the gold department. but Royalty just so far behind in the level department to Wyvern. Level 18, 9, 1, and 5. He started that fight level 17, and you saw the entire team sort of take a step back as, Wyvern sort of walked at them into their jungle, while the rest of them were sort of positioning themselves around the beacon. And having that Blood Forge online already as well, it just meant that he could be so aggressive in the fights and aggressive to get these executes. And that Health Shield really saved him. He got super low, and then you saw the rest of Flourish get super greedy to try and kill him and bait themselves into a position where Kingslayers are just going to pick them all up, and the Gold Fury on top of that. Flourish really have to just be careful about how they play together and sort of cut their losses instead of trying to go for like this desperation kill, because it just ended up making them lose more.
Yeah, they had pretty solid engage. They're getting really active Waaav dropping in early on, but that just left the backline wide open for Wyvern to just consume everything from behind, and that is not the best way Flourish wants to start off the team fight, especially when Nikojin showed up to cause even more chaos. Sun Wukong is the same level as Kuzenbo solo, but as of right now, Nikojin having quite a considerable impact. Not to say iTerminatorr isn't doing much of anything. He's doing quite a lot. But right now, Kingslayers just have everybody doing so much work for the team that where do you really think Flourish needs to do something to make a change?
I think they have a lot of late game magical damage coming out of this Olorun and the Kwang. I think they just need to focus up and farm and sort of stay out of these fights. You don't want to give up too many objectives, because then you're too far behind to come back in the game. But you want to just get farm, get your items online, and then in these late game fights, they have a good amount of poke, a great amount of CC from Sanctified Fields. That's where their team fight excels. That's what they need to be team fighting around. Is those in general. And you mentioned Terminatorr as well. He's 13k in the damage charts. Really the only one that's competing with the damage out of Kingslayers is they pick up an uncontested Pyromancer. And this is where things are going to start to get rough for Flourish. They're a little too far behind the contest objectives, so Kingslayers is going to posture up around them and say, if you want to step up, you can, but you know what's going to happen.
Diving in on the DLC, but a nice double taunt will be some bombs doing a lot of damage. Both Roti and Waaav taking half their health already, just from 2 members. Cosmic Warrior here for backup, but not quite in time to save them from all that damage. And you were saying it earlier, the more items, the more dangerous this Agni becomes, and I just watch it unfold. 2 people taunted, 2 people hit with the bombs, and half their health just gone.
Yeah, fully stacked Charon's coin at 20 minutes. Staff of Mirrodin, Soul Reaver online. Baradesto, he's starting to hit really hard, and it's only going to get harder once he gets his 6th item and starter finished as well. It's not looking good for Flourish. And especially with the way JunglePhobic is sort of communicating like his taunts, you could tell that he's just like, okay, I've got these 2 taunted, and you see DragonLordCat just so ready to capitalize on it as well. Just really smart team play from Kingslayers in all these fights.
Really good synergy. They're just working together as a unit. Kingslayer's now getting ready for the Oni Fury that's going to be spawning here in about 20 seconds. Flourish trying to make something happen, but going to be engaging on Wyvern, and they get the kill before he can get into the sky. Beautiful kill, but they do have to drop Sanctified Fields for it. That's going to be a big teamfight tool that's not available for this coming Gold Fury, but with Wyvern out of the way, that's going to give him a lot of extra space to work with.
I'd say that's worth. Yeah, I think Wyvern has been so prevalent in all these team fights, picking up a triple earlier, sort of baiting the entire team into getting themselves killed in the previous team fight. I think you drop everything on top of them, and that's exactly what Flourish need to be doing, is just spending their resources to just get these quick kills. Wyvern, obviously level 20, he's going to step up too far, and Flourish just capitalized on it so easily. And with that, with that return kill, they got, I think Westside got 2 levels off that, level 17, and just sort of closed the gap, which is what Flourish.
Holding the Gold Fury, Kingslayers trying to make the return in as Unfear almost dropped to quarter HP, but now the rest of the team is here. Nikojin getting into the backline. Mary Poppins out is Cosmic Warrior, dropping the Thunder. FullOfShrimp taking a lot of damage. Waaav trying to get into the skies to help Backliner dropping in on DLC to get some extra damage. Shell will be good. Dueling Dragons will push Ragemore away from Cosmic, but into the death. Wyvern does not manage to hit anybody with the execute. Chasing Waaav. Ragemore does end up picking up Cosmic Warrior in the backline. Nikojin will take out FullOfShrimp, and Wyvern will continue to chase down with a good scythe. Waaav will end up falling. Terminator just trying to escape royalty, making his way back into the fight, but a little bit too little, too late. Kingslayers have plenty of wards already available. And with 5 members strong, that Oni Fury is going to be looked at immediately. Nikojin going to go ahead and take the beacon while they're at it. Kingslayers just off the back of a really solid team fight, take both those objectives and secure an even bigger gold lead.
We're starting to see the dominance that Kingslayers have shown in every game that they've won this season. Just in case you forgot, they're undefeated so far, and you're starting to see why. Just their cohesion and teamwork and team play is just a cut above everyone else in this division. You could see just like from the small stuff, the way they all back up around the Gold Fury, wait for Wyvern to come back up and before they take a fight. The way Nikojin is posturing up on top of Stygian Beacon while the rest of his team is on, the gold, it just makes it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, now they're already pulling the Fire Giant. Terminator already falling to quarter HP up into the hovering depth. Wyvern gets the execute already, dropping the Fire Giant. Kingslayers looking for the chase. Cosmic Warrior getting pinned against the wall by Nikojin. Here comes Wyvern around the back. Cosmic Warrior dropping Sanctified Fields early. Kuzenbo dropping a lot of damage and some good knockups. Here comes Defender of Olympus to help. FullOfShrimp will end up falling to Wyvern. We see Petrify not quite on the mark. Wyvern picks up the triple kill onto Cosmic. Looking for more, but Rat's already in the sky and Royalty not close enough. Gonna opt to go ahead, wrap around the side, try and steal some more farm, and Royalty wants none of that. The linking in is gonna be JunglePhobic to try and get taunt, but won't be quite successful, as Royalty does manage to escape. And now with the Titans coming around the solo side, Kingslayers recognize where the threat is. Gonna go ahead and take that to give themselves more than enough space to go for Fire Giant once more.
Yeah, a ton of space to go for Fire Giant. Also, I think killing the Titan is actually pretty prevalent here because they did buff the amount of XP you get for killing them and the amount of damage and HP and prots that they have. So I think these Titans can be way more impactful than they were last patch. It looks like Kingslayers are just going to opt to grab their Pyro and both Titans will go down. But I definitely think you guys should watch out for those Titans because they might actually be starting hitting hard.
They're definitely hitting each other pretty hard, but Flourish manages to group up on the Titan first. Kingslayer's Titan will end up being driven back first, so they're going to have to contend with that before they try and go for the next Fire Giant. But with these team fights, they've been going so well for Kingslayers. What's Flourish doing wrong, and where can they fix it?
I think this is where they can fix it. They're all grouped up together. Sanctified Fields is going to come up soon. Waav's going to have that his ultimate soon as well. I think you have to look at sort of picking whoever's there in front of you before the rest of Kingslayers get there. Medusa's not here yet. You don't see DragonLordCat, even though you don't know exactly where he is. I think they should get pretty proactive and just try to get a pick before they take a 5v5 because Kingslayers have shown that you really can't contest with them in those 5v5s.
Like you said, Kingslayers trying to get a little bit of that pick action onto Terminator, doing a little bit of damage, but that's still a pretty tanky Sun Wukong, not going to be able to do too much to him. But Kingslayers now grouping around the Fire Giant, Ragemore backing to secure some extra items. And speaking of Ragemore, talk to me about Ragemore's build. Is this a normal ADC build you see right now?
No, by no means. By no means. I was gonna try to justify it, but it's really not a normal ADC build. But that doesn't mean it's bad. What's great about the build is you shed a lot of protections to that XC. You have a lot of power in the Transcendence, and with Jotun's Wrath and Titan's Bane, you're actually going to be dealing with these tanks really easily, as well as having that Medusa ultimate, that Petrify up, in almost every fight. So what you're seeing from Ragemore is it is an ADC build where you're doing enough damage still. Maybe not as much as something that's like a full power penetration, but you're doing enough damage that you want out of your ADC, as well as having the utility of Petrify up, maybe even twice a fight, with that Jotun's Wrath online. So it is a very smart build. Not something I expect, to see every game, though. Definitely not a typical.
Bit unusual, but they are doing pretty well for it. Kingslayer is going to go ahead and get active around the Fire Giant. Meanwhile, Ragemore is split pushing down the T2 tower. They recognize that they're that the EDC isn't there, but Kingslayer's posturing around the Fire Giant is enough of a threat to keep at least most of them there. Royalty be sent over to try and deal with the threat of Rage more, but recognizing that they're coming, able to back off away in time, and now that Primal Fury is going to be getting looked at by multiple members of Kingslayer's, 3 of them, as Wyvern just goes in, takes the mid T2 tower, and Waaav can't really do anything to stop it. Hovering Death will be used defensively to escape. Make sure you're not punished too much. Going to go in real close, to Royalty. Royalty blinks in, hunches his best, not quite on the mark. Cat stretch will be good. Not doing too much damage though, as Kingslayers do secure Primal Fury. Waaav will be going up into the skies, hovering around the branches, trying to drop back to help the team from Nicodrin to get a nice knockup, but with the rest of Kingslayers just charging in. That's going to be 5 members strong, and not a fight that Flourish seems interested in taking. So that is going to be a lot of extra space. Wyvern's going to try and wrap around the side, look for an opportunity to go in, but Flourish doesn't want any part of it, so Kingslayer's just going to go ahead, back up, go towards the Fire Giant, take some farm on their way, and Flourish, they're in a pretty bad situation here. They can't really drop the Fire Giant, but defending it is going to be a very difficult task. They're already down almost 10,000 gold, and with the Fire Giant already taking a quarter of its HP, Kingslayer's doing a lot of damage, trying to keep the zone going. Flourish trying to find an empty spot to get themselves in, but without the full team here, Fire Giant already down to half HP. Time is running out, doing a little bit of damage on a Nicodrin. Wyvern trying to put some presence around the side. Waaav getting very active around the corner. Fire Giant already down under quarter HP. The time is now trying to go in. Looks like they're going to go ahead and opt for the 50-50. As the Fire Giant goes down, Kingslayers will secure it. Knocking up is Nicodrin, trying to get some damage on DivineApe, doing a little bit of damage in the backline. Waaav taking a lot of damage. Hovering Death coming in. Execute is good. Sanctified Fields will be down, but you weren't the target at all. Blink coming out from Wyvern. Aegis will be good to secure. Defender of Olympus coming out for extra help. JunglePhobic will end up picking up FullOfShrimp, as Dueling Dragons is not available. Cosmic Warrior taking a little bit of aggression from 3 members now, and Scythe from Wyvern will be good to put him to sleep for the double kill. There's now 2 members of Flourish left alive as Kingslayers, 5 men strong, charging with Fire Giant around all 5 belts.
Dominant from the Kingslayers, from the map positioning, from the way they play the fight, from the way they sort of like position themselves. You could tell that they're so used to just being ahead, and it looks like they're looking for way more in their Titan room.
Oh, they're not even waiting for the other towers on the side. They're going to go ahead and get the double kill to finish off the remaining 2. Wyvern gets a good execute, and that will be 5 strong on the Titan. There is nothing to stop them, and Kingslayers not going to drop this game. They haven't dropped one before, and they will continue on this legacy, taking game number 1 in 30 minutes. That was a very commanding performance coming out from Kingslayers. Flourish trying to make something happen, but they were weeded out very quickly by the Kingslayers. Talk to me. What went wrong, and what can they do better?
I think they had to clean up their early game. Flourish actually, they got off to a rough start. I think we saw Wyvern was up 2-1. I think there was 3-0 in the kill department for um against Flourish, but Flourish, they sort of brought that lead back and they evened up the game a little bit. But then around the time first Stygian spawned, they lost that objective. Then they lost the gold fury. Then they got one themselves, which tied the game back up. And then after that, it was they lost fight after fight after fight. But they weren't completely out of the game until around that like 15-20 minute mark. So I do think they just need to tighten up their early game, capitalize on some of the mistakes that are being made by the Kingslayers in the early stages of the game, and then if they can get ahead, like get themselves a lead, that's really where they can flourish. Pardon the pun, but that's what they're gonna have to do because if they don't, Kingslayers are just gonna keep doing what they're
Oh, please keep the puns rolling. As
doing.
my good friend Dilo would say, the punmanship is always appreciated. Gotta love it. We saw a very solid game 1 coming out from Kingslayers, and like you said, really just had trouble in that early game for Flourish. Just
Yeah.
weren't quite able to spread their roots to get into the late game. And by the time it hit that mid game, just like you said, they were having way too much trouble. Wyvern was doing way too much damage, and
Mm.
DLC was left with way too much space. And a free casting Agni is normally not a very good thing to see. So, do you really think it's going to come down to just how they played the map, or is it really just the early pressure that Flourish lost?
I think it's how they play the map. I think Kingslayers just they played so well around the objectives. You saw a couple times you would see Nico turn on the beacon, like Stygian beacon, and then all of Flourish look at him, and the rest of Kingslayers are on the gold fear. It happened again as well when Hovering Death was used offensively in the mid lane after Wyvern was taking a tier 1 tower. You saw all of Flourish sort of look at him while he's using Hovering Death offensively, and he lands right next to his team that's taking the gold fury. It just like it goes to show like how well Kingslayers play and how like objective focused they play, and Flourish just kept falling for bait after bait around these objectives. So I'd like to see maybe more ward vision could help with that, or maybe just like communication in general. Both of those would really help Flourish sort of like take the lead in the early game and go away with the win.
Coming into game number 2 here, already kicking off with the bans going out.
Mhm.
We see Thor coming out from Flourish, Tyr gone, but we see Agni being taken off the board very quickly. You think Flourish recognizes a
Death
threat?
awaits.
Yeah, they sure do. DLC put on a clinic on that Agni performance, and they want that off the table, and they're going to take the Thanatos from themselves so that Wyvern isn't playing that as well. Smart to just take them off the things that they're comfortable on.
Kingsley is definitely going to have to rethink their comp. They don't have Freya, Kali, or Rob because they banned those, but since Flourish took the Thanatos, the Sun Wukong will be left open for Nicodrin this time. And they still have another pick here in the top 2.
I will leave
And it looks
standing
like
no
Ganesh will be
barrier
the
to our
option that they pick.
success.
We
Wow.
talked about this last game. These are two very prevalent characters. Do you think we're going to see a lot of action from Kingslayers so far?
I think we will, and what we're not going to see a lot of action out of is this Thanatos. I think Thanatos is a god that really struggles into Ganesh. He wants to be able to sort of blink engage, throw his abilities, and then
Our
use
deeds shall
his
be
his movement
written
speed
in
buff to get out.
legend.
Ganesh isn't going to let any of that happen if he's in the area. So definitely going to struggle in the matchup. Royalty, someone who could who can position well enough to get around that though. But he's gonna have to play so well to be able to position himself around JunglePhobic on this Ganesh.
It's definitely not going to be easy to play it into a Ganesh because
Mhm.
that's a very solid support. The silence can be very obnoxious, but Flourish looking to get a little bit better with their dive. Guan Yu coming in. Cavalry
Warriors,
charge a very
to
potent
battle!
teamfight mechanic, and with Geb to rock it up from the back, providing those stone shields, that's going to be very easy for Flourish to make a good teamfight happen. What do you think so far?
I like the where Flourish is going. Thanatos, Guan Yu, insanely good dive and initiation. It can come from Huthering Death. It can come from Cavalry Charge. It could be a Blink Gebolt as well. I think Kingslayers have a lot to think about when they're like positioning in around 5v5s, which is where Flourish struggled. I think they lost almost every team fight. A couple of them they got like some big return kills, which was really good. But I think getting these team fight ultimates and good initiation is just gonna help, in the battle against Kingslayers.
Speaking of Kingslayers, they're coming out with some bans, getting rid of the Shibboleth once again, but
Mhm.
also taking off the board the
Who
Morgan Le
will rise
Fay.
above the rest?
Yeah, Morgan Le Fay not a god that is too prevalent. We saw actually, DLC have an insane performance, on it the other day. So it's weird of them to ban it from themselves and they play it so well. But it looks like he wanted to go towards the Discordia. Smart choice because either on her or Wukong are going to have that Discordia passive, and they're going to be hitting incredibly hard in the early game. So expect to see maybe some early aggression in those lanes, especially if from the
Incoming!
person who has that Discordia passive.
Flourish coming out with a bit of damage themselves. Merlin going to be rocking up the mid lane. We saw Cosmic Warrior doing a pretty good job of doing some damage last
Hmm.
game. Wasn't quite enough to save the team, but definitely a very good effort. Merlin,
Time to
pretty well
eat!
known for his damage output. But talk to me about the Flourish ADC here. We see a very interesting pick.
So Neat did get buffed this patch. From what I remember, I think Spirit Arrow is at an 11-second cooldown now, which is nothing to scoff at. That is a huge change. Neith's gonna just be like a little safer and have that ability up a little more, and kind of with the way the Spirit Arrow works is like when there's a weave on the ground and you hit it, it sort of explodes and roots everyone in an area. And those are so elusive and hard to position around in fights that it is something that we can see sort of like come up like in these fights. Neith obviously a god we don't see a lot of, and with these minor tweaks we probably won't see a lot of, but it's smart for them to give it a shot because I do think that the Spirit Arrow change um is like a really good change that can bring her sort of back to a god that's like that's pickable, if that makes sense.
Speaking of a pickable god, we see Bakasura rounding
Mhm.
out the final pick for Kingslayers. We saw Wyvern get ahead and do a lot of damage in game number one. So seeing somebody who can farm even more efficiently, if not just eat everybody on the map along with the camps, that could be even more terrifying. So we are already seeing a lot of things coming out from Kingslayers who have
Mhm.
not dropped a game this season. They're asking some pretty big questions. And once again, will Flourish be able to answer any of them? We'll just have to find out in game number two. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Kingslayers up in game number two. They have 1-0 in this set against Flourish in the Divine Division. Undefeated so far this season is the Kingslayers. Talk to me, DivineApe. Is there really anything that the Flourish have going for them with the draft this game that's better than previous?
I like the initiation. I'm someone who particularly likes Guan Yu as a character. Obviously, not fighting that character because he's so tough to go against. But Cavalry Charge is so good. Tele Assault is so good. I think if we see like Terminator just have like the same impact that he had on the Wukong on onto the backline of Kingslayers, it could really disrupt what they want to do, as a cohesive unit. And I'm also excited to see Neith, a god we really don't get to see a lot. Did recently get buffed. I want to see if those buffs, feel impactful, and see if Neith is a god that we might even be seeing more in the duo lane.
We normally see Neith a little bit more in those ranked or casual games, not quite as much in the SDL, so it'd be interesting to see how well the performance will go on that. Meanwhile, the Kingslayers do manage to get a little bit, nice Unruly Magic coming out from DLC already. The good Strafe, that's some good damage already. Flourish going to have to be careful in the mid lane. They may have the Thanatos this time around, but still don't want to laugh at the damage that Kingslayers have to offer, even with the Bakasura. That mid lane is going down pretty quickly. Doing a little bit of damage. Kazumikura taking some hits from the Bakasura, rooted in place. Very low on mana, does manage to be able to dash away. Royalty trying to get some action as iTerminatorr falling very low. Nikojin ends up getting the first blood. The cudgel will do just enough. And Kingslayers get a very early first blood.
Now, I was talking about how much I like Guan Yu. What I haven't talked about is how much I like Sun Wukong. That god is so fun. I'm the DivineApe. He's the DivineApe. It's just how it goes. And Nikojin piloting it so well. Just putting down Guan Yu, who typically doesn't struggle in the solo lane, especially when it goes down to early deaths. So Nikojin must have played that so well to have got him so low and actually gets the solo kill.
And it happens again?
Again?
Falling 2 times in very fast succession. Nikojin just taking Sun Wukong right out of Terminator's hand, saying, "This is how it's done." We see Ragemore trying to jump in, Roti trying to get active. There is 3 here to the 2. A good impale from Ragemore will end up putting them against a wall. Trying to blink in. Scythe not quite on the mark, and a blink from Ragemore will end up getting him back to the safety of tower. Royalty getting active on JunglePhobic, and Wyvern doing a little bit of damage, but a nice jump in and some good silence. Impale is good. Royalty taking a lot of damage. Dropping very low. Blink from the Bakasura will be good. Butcher Blades do just enough. Royalty will end up falling to the other jungler once again. For the first time this game, though, Cosmic is not there to help out the team, so Flourish just going to go ahead and back off.
I love the mindset of Flourish. You dominated towards like the end of game one. You want to come off strong, have a good early game, be aggressive. This is not the time to do it. They go down. iTerminatorr goes down twice in the soul lane. He's now 2 levels down. Nikojin already stacking that Soul Eater, so it's just gonna get worse for him. And then so they get super aggressive on the left side of the map, and they lose everything and drop another kill. And it looks like they might even drop another one with Kingslayers
JunglePhobic
coming
falling
back.
very low. We see Waaav trying to get something there, but the good info from Ragemore, the peel will be good, and they'll keep their lives. Kingslayers do manage to just keep up this pressure. The return gank just wasn't quite enough, and Flourish trying to go for that early pressure, trying to make something happen, make a change, but it is just not working anywhere right now.
Man, Kingslayers are just gonna take this lead and run with it. I mean, there was a little bit of hiccups in the previous game after they were up 3-0, similar scenario, and Flourish were able to get some return kills. But if Kingslayers, don't make a mistake, which undefeated this season in any game, so we really have at this point for your Flourish, you have to rely on Kingslayers to make a mistake, and they're not a team that's really privy to doing that. So
They're not very well known for making the mistakes. In fact, they're known for making bank. Kingslayers are really the team to beat right now, and Flourish, despite their best efforts, it's not going to be quite enough. Wasn't enough in game one, and right now, Flourish going to have to go back to the drawing board so far for this early game. Where do you think they need to focus this pressure to make those changes?
I think around the mid lane makes the most sense. I mean, Merlin is a guy that's so good at this point in the game. Getting the rest of on Discordia.
Speaking of Merlin, we'll end up getting the kill, but a return from DLC trades 1-for-1, even in the 1v2. And that will be the golden apple of Discord traded out for Hovering Death. So Royalty without that, going to be a little bit harder to gank, or a little bit slower at least. And a nice trade on the mid laners. DLC showing some really good mechanics already.
Yeah, I think that Strife hit. I mean, obviously it did hit Cosmic Warrior and Royalty, and I think Cosmic died to the Thanatos auto from the Strife making them attack each other, which I've actually never seen that kill before. Which is
Blink Scythe not quite on the mark. Ragemore trying to escape, and Desert 3 already down, but Wyvern is good with the Regurgitate. Just getting all that damage out in such a nice AoE. Waaav coming in hot, gets a nice knock up under Ragemore, but low with the help of JunglePhobic will be able to survive a little bit longer. Shrimp and Waaav not too healthy in the mana department, but would be able to survive with their health bar. Kingslayers do end up suffering one death, but with a good trade and a little bit more presence over in the dual lane, Kingslayers are feeling just fine about it.
Yeah, I mean, Cosmic Warrior getting that one kill is going to be big, but I think Royalty going over to that dual lane, trying to get more done, and just going down again, it's going to be so bad. As you see Waaav and JunglePhobic just having a good time. Supports, they're really not doing anything right now besides hitting each other, so why not just sit around and emote and Flourish. If they want to get something done, they got to do a little more than just stand around with the enemy. Maybe they're thinking like, oh, we'll just be friends with them, because at this point, beating the Kingslayers has been an impossible task for the entire league. Befriending them seems like the next best thing.
Well, apparently Waaav decided to take very literally, if you can't beat him, join him. You go ahead and make some friends. iTerminatorr falling very, very low. Be careful. Nikojin doing a lot of damage to the Guan Yu, 2 levels down. Don't fall. That was very, very close. Nikojin showing already. I may only have 1.5 items up, but that's still more than enough damage to take you down.
Yeah, that's a leader almost fully stacked, and
Waaav taking a lot of damage. Dharmic Pillars would be good, and Golden Apple of Discord will secure the kill. Spreading it to Cosmic Warrior, already dropped under half HP under his own tower line. Here comes Nikojin dashing in with stun and rill, but with a good Hovering Death, managed to survive. Still at half HP, gonna go ahead and get out. Ragemore putting on the pressure on the Shrimp underneath tower line, just looking for some extra damage. Not gonna be able to get a kill just yet, but with Kingslayers prowling through the backcamps, with Flourish, they may not be able to find the buff, but they're definitely going to be looking for another kill in the mid lane. Cosmic Warrior, half HP. Here they come in full force. Regurgitate is good. Beats is also good. Waaav taking a lot of damage, and a big Cataclysm onto 3 will end up getting him out safely, keeping his life a little bit longer. Strafe! Ooh. Unruly Magic, just not enough. Waaav barely surviving with a sliver of HP left. So is iTerminatorr. Somersault Cloud not going to be enough to chase, as we see 2 over in the duo side. Flourish trying to make something happen. Will secure the shield buff. But after that, going to go ahead and disengage.
And all these almost kills is this might not be an almost kill for Cosmic.
Golden Apple of Discord was not quite enough to secure the kill, barely living his Cosmic Warrior, but FullOfShrimp has Realty over here to help with Ragemore. Nice stun, but not going to be enough damage to kill Ragemore. Hunter's Fury is expended, but the life is kept. We'll be able to return back safely.
And it's 3 people that got away with so little HP from, you know, there's the aggression from Kingslayers. You see Terminator run for his life, you see Cosmic run for his life, and then you see Waaav hit a big Cataclysm run for his life. And that's what Flourish are going to have to do for the rest of the game, it looks like, as there's more action in the jungle.
Realty doing a lot of damage to JunglePhobic. Opts to go into the Hovering Death, but looking more towards the buffs. And going for the kill since JunglePhobic wasn't quite in execute range, as Nikadrin looking for a blue buff steal, not quite able to find it. Take a tower shot instead. Be a little bit of a nothing sandwich over in the solo side, but mid Harpies, that's another story. That's going to get gobbled up by 3 Kingslayers. As meanwhile, objectives, well, at least Gold Fury is open, and Kingslayers with 6-1 on the kills board, looking for gank over into solo lane. JunglePhobic and Wyvern coming in hot. Terminator already taking a lot of damage. Regurgitate will be good, and that'll be a kill. Wyvern gets credit. Now 3-0. Off to just as fine a start as last game. This is feeling really good for Kingslayers.
Yeah, with no beads and being completely silenced by Ganesh, there's really nowhere for Terminator to go there. I mean, even Cavalry Charge, I don't think would have got him out from that position. And Nets, in game 1, you asked me why Ganesh was banned. I mean, that is a prime example of what Ganesh brings. He walks over, silenced, all the damage gets dumped onto the person he silenced. They can't do anything about it. They don't have, because they don't have beads, and then you have a dead soul lane on your hands.
4 from Flourish going in. Hovering Death. Ragemore will end up taking the brunt of all that damage. Royalty will end up securing the kill onto Ragemore, and that'll be a nice gank. And that opens up the way for Gold Fury. Kingslayers only 1 in the area, and it's only DLC with Gold Fury already under half. Golden Apples of Discord will end up hitting Waaav. They recognize that they're going to go ahead and drop the Gold Fury for a moment, so he can't steal, but here comes JunglePhobic around the back. Those are ready, and DLC will get the kill onto Waaav with the help. Cosmic Warrior falling very low, has to pop beads, dashing away, but Wyvern is hot on the chase. Kingslayers pick up the Gold Fury in the meantime. Cosmic Warrior getting chased down by 3. Not quite able to escape. Wyvern will pick up the kill. Butcher Blade's doing just enough to consume 1 more life. FullOfShrimp trying to back under tower, but there's too many people here. But JunglePhobic taking a lot of damage for it, and with a strafe, Unruly Magic, try and backflip away, get 1 kill, and fall to Wyvern to go on a rampage.
I love these game plans from Flourish. It just has to be executed a little better. I love the idea of the 4 of them just grouping up. They're like, okay, we're just going to get this kill on Ragemore, and then we're going to grab the Gold Fury. Beautiful. They get the kill. They walk it over Gold Fury, but then they let it DragonLordCat by himself with just Apple of Discord stop that whole thing, and they take a little too long on the Gold Fury. JunglePhobic walks over, hits the Dharmic Pillars, gets the Gold Fury for Kingslayers, and then gets 2 kills on the back end of that as well. Obviously, JunglePhobic goes down, but if you're a Ganesh, you're 0-1 and 6. You'll trade that every time, and they're looking for more in the 2.
Wyvern dropping Regurgitate onto FullOfShrimp. Good Cataclysm will end up securing a little bit of safety. Up into the skies is Royalty, but already a little bit low, looking to go in a little bit later, taking down Wyvern. Dharmic Pillars will be good. Ragemore secures a kill. Waaav will get Wyvern down. Ragemore gets a double kill onto Shrimp, and here comes the Golden Apple of Discord. DLC will get Waaav, and now 3 onto Cosmic. And that'll be a triple kill for Ragemore. 4 members of Flourish wiped from the map, and Stygian Beacon now in the sights of Kingslayers.
And Ragemore takes more. He just got 4 men ganked, in the last death, and then he comes back and gets a triple in the next fight. That guy's on a warpath of vengeance, and they're gonna get a beacon for free after that fight. And really, these Kingslayers, I can't harp on how well they're playing together, as a cohesive unit. You see things get a little scrambly on Flourish's side. You always see Kingslayers sort of like group themselves up and position themselves in such a good spot to take these fights, and they always do. Like, literally, they are undefeated this season, and Flourish is going to have to do a lot to change that in this game.
Kingslayers on the Revolution arc. They are coming straight for the crown, and they are not letting anybody stop them. Flourish, they're just some wee old plants. They're not going to be able to stop this onslaught of damage coming out. This is already an 8,000 gold deficit that they're finding themselves in. Where can they stop the bleeding here?
The way to get back into the game, a lot of people think you have to make super aggressive plays and try to like do like this crazy comeback stuff. You just have to play your spot the best you can, get your farm, get all the all the minions you can, just farm up and play safe. Around objectives, it's going to be really tough because Kingslayers are just so far ahead that if you step up, you can die. But getting a pick like this on Ragemore is a good idea. I like the aggression.
Blink already out from Ragemore, but Hovering Death is also coming in. Stun will be good and nice. Ragemore going go ahead and pop beads. Desert's Fury with a roll-in from Geb. Waaav doing a lot of damage, getting some good stuns. Ragemore trying to survive as long as possible. Here comes a Regurgitate from the jungler, doing a lot of damage. Geb shield will be good to save a little bit of time, but Royalty will still end up falling. Ragemore does survive. Here comes iTerminatorr around the back. Here comes Cavalry Charge already. Wyvern sneaking around the side. Cosmic Warrior here. All 5 members coming over the dual lane. Wyvern trying to survive a little bit longer, stall for some time, but Terminator will end up finding him. Meanwhile, in mid lane, the Tier 1 tower will fall to 3 as the duo side Tier 1 tower will fall to Flourish. Ragemore trying to make his way back to protect the tower, but against 3 members and a Geb relatively close by, not going to be able to do too much, just stall for a little bit of time as the Oni Fury is about to respawn. Does manage to secure the tower's life. Terminator taking a lot of damage, but FullOfShrimp and Cosmic Warrior returning some of that damage onto Ragemore. Trying to clear wave and keep the tower alive, but FullOfShrimp wants it real bad, but Ragemore is going to make sure that does not happen. And now on the chase, here come the rest of the Kingslayers in time for the Gold Fury to spawn. That's an Oni Fury now. This will be a very important pickup if they can get it. They do still have plenty of space. Geb and Neith are in the area code, but right now they are not quite on the same block. Kingslayers looking to group up for this Gold Fury, make sure everybody's there before they start it. Looking at Waaav, going to force the roll up pretty early. Does manage to stop. Dharmic Pillar is going to be good. Strife gets a lot of damage on Waaav, falling very low. Nothing will save him. Nicodrin smacking the cudgel back of his head, dropping him into the ground. And Kingslayer is going to go ahead and go straight for the Oni Fury. You see Wyvern going in deep to make sure that you can't get any farm, you can't get anywhere near the Gold Fury. They're just going to get Oni Fury uncontested.
And man, what a fun sight that was to see the 72 Transformations Tiger chase down the rollout and stun him out before the CC immunity comes out. And then all of Kingslayers, you can see on the same page, ready. You see Strife come out immediately after the Tiger stun, and then you see the Dharmic Pillars come out immediately and the silence, and he's got nowhere to go. Waaav is going to go down every time there, and that's just exactly, I sound like a broken record at this point. That's what Kingslayers are doing. They're playing so well together, and they get themselves another Gold Fury relatively uncontested. And Flourish, they did start that skirmish well. That's what you have to do to get back in the games, to ganks and send everyone and not be by yourself. Just hold that thought. Terminator's getting really low.
Cavalry Charge dropped with about 3rd HP. Golden Apple of Discord is already down, but here comes Wyvern jumping in. Butcher Blades at the ready. There are 4 members over here. Kingslayers charging down at this Guan Yu. Nice blink stun with the Tiger form doing a lot of damage as Nicodrin, but here comes a Regurgitate trying to survive a little bit longer, and Somersault Cloud will be enough. Meanwhile, Ragemore will end up falling to Royalty. Almost gets a kill on the FullOfShrimp, but it'll be forced to back relatively soon, and Kingslayers know exactly where the rest of the team is, and Fire Giant being looked at immediately. 2 members from Flourish trying to make the rotation over Geb and Merlin, and a Dream contesting this Fire Giant, but Wyvern is on the prowl looking for something. Waaav rolling into 4. They're going to go ahead and drop the objective, doing a lot of damage. Stone Shield is not going to be enough to save you. Cataclysm will stall for some time with a good triple stun, but Golden Apple Discord does a lot. Trying to make it out. Wyvern will end up getting it with the jump. And Cosmic Warrior left alone. Kingslayers will have to back, won't be able to take the Fire Giant, and teammates do manage to do a lot of damage to the T2 tower over in duo. Will end up securing it before Kingslayers can rush to its defense. They do get something out of it, but not quite enough to get them back where they want to be.
They got something, but FullOfShrimp's got to run, and he's got all of Kingslayers coming towards him. And
jump is good. Impel is even better. Ragemore doing a lot of damage. Beads will not save you. The body blocks from Nicodrin are even better. The best CC coming out from Nikadrin. As we all know, the best CC is Def.
Yeah, FullOfShrimp going to be off the map for 27 seconds because they're so far behind. I mean, what's good about being behind is short death timers, man. But that's about it because Kingslayers can do whatever they want inside of Flourish's jungle.
Royalty no longer with the hovering Death Somersault Cloud down from Nikadrin as the clone stops the back of Royalty under the Phoenix. Oh, poor guy just wanted it back. Dashing around the tower in mid. Gonna go ahead and take the Pyromancer. Kingslayers do a little bit. Meanwhile, we see iTerminatorr get some extra farm, pushing up Waaav all the way up to tier 2 tower over in solo, but Kingslayers, 5 members strong, hovered around the Fire Giant. Not pulling it just yet, but with enough space, and just one little misstep from Flourish, and it will be green lights to charge in. Just waiting for that opportunity. Nikadrin resetting before the fight begins. Flourish stepping up to try and make sure that no funny business is going on, but Kingslayers have more than enough damage to tell them why that's not the best idea.
Yeah, this is a smart from Flourish, like where they're standing. They need to be far back because if Kingslayers want to fight, Flourish don't. They need to retreat, but get vision, make sure you're in the area. Always threaten that if Kingslayers do start that Fire Giant, that you're going to be there to try to 50-50 it and get that steal. But Flourish, it's really a bluff because if they do fight Kingslayers, in a 5v5, 7, 8K down like they are, down experience in every role except mid lane, like this fight is not going to go well for them. We've already seen, Kingslayers just display like how well they fight together. We did see some good stuff from Cosmic this game. That's where I'd like to see the focus on if you are flourishing. Kingslayers are going to start with the fire, and only Terminator's here.
Only one member here to contest the Fire Giant. It's only 20 minutes in. Fire Giant already down to half HP. iTerminatorr trying to make something happen. Darmic Poe is already down. Cosmic Warrior and Waaav coming in to try and do something. Dashing in. Cataclysm would be good for a stun. Flourish does steal away the Fire Giant, but it will pay for it with their lives. Waaav falling almost immediately. We do see one very low member as DLC trying to back away, but Regurgitate will be good to do a lot of damage. Cosmic Warrior will end up falling to Wyvern. Hovering Death going in. Does not end up connecting, but a Blink trying to find DLC in the back. But the boys are here to help their teammate Royalty getting caught out, and Wyvern will secure a double kill. Royalty falling. That's now 3 members down for Flourish. The only 2 left having Fire Giant around their belts, but not much of a defense that they can put up against 5 members strong of Kingslayers taking down the mid-tier 2 tower. Mid lane Phoenix already next up on the list. Golden Apple of Discord will connect to FullOfShrimp. iTerminatorr getting stunned out. Waaav trying to make something happen. You see a little bit of low HP bars on Kingslayers, but that won't be enough to convince them to stop. They're going to go ahead and take the bird, get out. Gold Fury is available. They can go ahead, back up, get that, and continue this onslaught that they're putting on.
I mean, Flourish, man, they it's so heartbreaking. They get the Fire Giant steal. It's exactly what they were posturing up for. They're trying to make sure Kingslayers don't get it, and they lose 3 members in a Phoenix for even thinking about stealing the Fire Giant, even after they got it. And they look like they're contesting this Gold Fury too, but Kingslayers, looked like they were ready to fight, but they're gonna play it smart. They're gonna back off, spend the gold that they have so much of because they're 10K ahead of Flourish, and then I would guess they're gonna look to get this left side tower and Phoenix down, but they might just go for towers. Even with Terminatorr and FullOfShrimp having the Fire Giant, I really don't think Kingslayers are in a position that they're scared of anyone on Flourish right now.
They certainly don't posture like they're afraid of anybody or anything. Fire Giant doesn't matter. 20 minutes, more than enough time for them to drop it. This is only 22 minutes in. We're seeing almost 10,000 gold deficit. This is just this is a dream come true for the Kingslayers, but for Flourish, this is quite grim to say the least. But there is still a chance you did steal a Fire Giant away from them, so there is some possibility of making things happen. But what do you think they really need to focus on changing here to start making something happen?
We've already seen a little bit of it. We saw a gank onto Ragemore earlier where they sent everyone. They said it was a 5-man rotation. I think you need to have everyone together and sort of single someone out. And Ragemore is kind of by himself here.
Listed team coming in, Golden Apple, Discord, and Regurgitate onto Terminator, who shut him down very quickly, trying to steal the beacon away. Somersault Cloud will be good with a nice triple strife. Cosmic Warrior falling very low. Nicodrin getting that killed. DLC taking a lot of damage. Hovering Death will be good for an execute onto DLC. Good shutdown, but taking a lot of damage. Wyvern will end up picking up FullOfShrimp as Ragemore takes out Royalty. As Waaav gets caught out, no more dash available. Stone Shield trying to survive a little bit longer. Runic Bomb drop, but not going to be able to quite connect, as the rest of the Kingslayers are in hot pursuit of this lonely support. Taking a lot of damage, suddenly good as Ragemore gets the deicide. Kingslayers will charge into the fountain. Nothing to stop them as the throne room comes crashing down around them. They have found the king and they are ready to go in for the kill. Titan already half HP. Nobody up just yet as Terminator finally spawning with quarter HP cavalry charge coming out to try and make something happen. Dharmic Pillar is good as Wyvern does manage to get away, but it's just too much damage. iTerminatorr tries to get a kill, but it won't be in time. Kingslayers take down the Titan for game 2 and continue their flawless onslaught. That was truly a game for the ages if you are on the Kingslayers, but if you're Flourish, that just went from bad to worse. They tried everything that they could, every play in the book, and it just wasn't quite enough. Kingslayers have already read it and made a new version. There was just not much Flourish could do here. Do you really think that there was any adjustments they could have made?
Not really. Just another regicide from the Kingslayers, man. They play so well and so cohesive. I mean, the best thing Flourish could do is take notes. I mean, they really. You saw some like communication errors from Flourish, and then you saw some sort of just general like execution mistakes. And I think if you're Flourish, there's a lot to learn from this game, but it's all from what Kingslayers did do. You saw Nicodrin make really good rotations, very impactful rotations. You saw a lot of pressure a lot of pressure from Wyvern, even though he was on a god that isn't as good early game as Thanatos. He was still able to create that pressure. So I think if you're Flourish, you really just have to look at what Kingslayers are doing well and do your best to emulate that, in your future sets because Kingslayers are playing flawless right now.
Kingslayer is really just putting out a masterclass of what you want to do, working together as a team, just really good cohesion, recognizing when one player drops a CC, they just drop the damage as quickly as possible. They make it all happen, and just from start to finish, clean conversions, amazing objective pulls, being able to work together as a team, even when a gank happens and somebody falls, being able to use that presence on the other side of the map to pull another objective. And overall, just a beautiful play.
Yeah, beautiful play from everyone, especially at Nicodrin. I think getting the 2 solo kills on the Guan Yu is something that, just started the ball rolling on the first wave, man, just really setting the pace for the Kingslayers. So putting every solo laner on notice, really. For don't give Nicodrin the Sun Wukong, or you might be going down early.
Yeah, don't give them any space because Kingslayers will run away with it just like they did tonight. Unfortunately, that will be all the content for this set, but don't you worry, we got plenty more coming up very shortly. Kingslayers will continue their reign of dominance. Don't go anywhere, as we'll have more eventually. Thank you all for joining us. I've been Jeeringlamb, joined by the wonderful DivineApe. We had the ever wonderful, truly the GOAT, iNooblet, running production. Make sure to thank him, show him your love. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful night.